Hello, hi everyone. For today's video, I kind of like changed my setup to sort of like make this video a little bit more casual than usual. So for this video, I kind of like ditched my usual setup of using my DSLR camera and instead I'm using my travel vlogging camera. Hopefully that goal comes across in this video. For some reason, I just thought that, you know, if I would have this slightly less structured setup, it would make this video a bit more casual than my typical setup with the DSLR. So anyways, for today's video is going to be all about perfumes that features vanilla. This idea actually came from a question that was asked in my Instagram story when I first started doing this YouTube channel. I posted sort of like an open question for everyone of what questions they would want me to answer in my channel. And one of my friends asked me for recommendations for vanilla perfumes. Now back then, I probably only had about, I don't know, perhaps 4 or 5 vanilla forward perfumes. And I didn't want to do a video with that very few choices. I actually wanted anyone who is watching my videos to have more choices when it comes to my selections. So obviously since then, my collection of vanilla perfumes and my collection in general has expanded exponentially. But obviously I don't have all the perfumes that features vanilla that I have in my collection in this video. But if you are interested in knowing what are my favorite vanilla perfumes that I have in my collection, keep on watching this video. Hello everyone, my name is Reno. Welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for spending time with me today. But if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for tuning back in. Now today's video is again going to be all about vanilla perfumes. Now when I first started collecting perfumes, vanilla wasn't necessarily something that I gravitated towards. Most of that sentiment comes from the fact that vanilla, I think, is a very common note. It's literally everywhere from ice cream to food, room fresheners, car fresheners, and perfumes. So it wasn't really something that I was really drawn into, but ever since then, my taste in perfumes obviously have kind of like matured and I have grown appreciation for vanilla perfumes and vanillas in perfumes in general. Now without further ado, let's start the list with a perfume from the house of Maison Margiela from the Replica line, and this is Whispers in the Library. This perfume has keynotes of woods, vanilla, pepper, and some leathery accord. I think this is a very underrated perfume from the house of Maison Margiela. To me, the one thing that I really appreciate about this perfume is that this is very evocative, this is very transportive, and I think as far as the story goes, it actually really delivers. It doesn't necessarily transport me to feeling like I was in the middle of Oxford Library, but what I do get from this perfume is that it immediately transports me back to when I was in med school. I usually de-stress going to my favorite bookshop, secondhand bookshop, and just going through books after books, going through these pages that have slightly turned yellow. And what I love about this perfume is that the vanilla that is in this perfume just makes the entire experience more wearable and not just smelling like a straight up library. The combination of the woods, the pepper, and the vanilla just really gives you that feeling of sniffing through this old books that are in the library. This is really beautiful, very transportive and very evocative, and I think that's what I really love about this perfume. For the next perfume, we're going to the house of Micheleph, and this is Ylang Gold. Ylang, peach, lychee, coconut, and vanilla are some of the keynotes to this perfume. Now this is a very different kind of vanilla. A lot of people associate this one to being a female-oriented perfume, but like what we always say in this channel, at the end of the day, these perfumes are just liquid in a bottle, so just wear whatever you feel like wearing. To me, this is a very fresh, fruity, tropical vanilla perfume. If you don't like coconuts in perfume, don't be afraid about this one because it's very watery, it's very much in the background, but complementing that coconut at the top is this beautiful Ylang that I think just really adds to the tropical feel of this perfume. It is a vanilla bomb, but I think this is a really well-balanced perfume. It's very solar, it's very vibrant, it's very sunny, and I think this is just really perfectly unisex in my opinion. I don't think this is strictly feminine. If you love fruity vanilla perfumes, if you love the idea of tropical vanilla. Check this one out. I think you're gonna love this one. And now we are going to number 11. Right now, my top 5 is pretty solid, but any of these perfumes could be interchanged any time of day. But right now, this is what I'm feeling. For the next perfume, we're going to the house of Christian Louboutin, and this is a Loubirouge. Iris, vanilla, and cardamom are the only credited notes to this perfume. Now, this is a really cozy vanilla. It's very sensual. It sits closer to the skin, probably having a soft to moderate projection, but I have brought this perfume with me in Sydney when I went there last June this year in the middle of winter. It projected a lot, to be honest. It cut through the cold and really lasts for a very long time on my skin and on my clothes. But definitely this is a very sexy and cozy vanilla. It's very comforting, but you have that beautiful cardamom at the top that I think just really adds sparkle and shimmer to this perfume. The cardamom just creates a level of mystery, creates dimension for this perfume. I think this is also a really good year-round perfume because even in winter, this perfume cuts through the cold and lasts for a really long time as well. Next up, we're going to the house of Penhaligons. This is going to be the first out of the 2 perfumes that I have from the house of Penhaligons in this list, and this is Babylon. This perfume has keynotes of woods, vanilla, saffron, and cypriol. To me, this is one of the most unique vanilla perfumes in my collection because it has lots of spice, definitely loaded with saffron at the top. It's really inviting, really sexy, that just really catches your attention. And you have the beautiful cypriol note at the background that's almost leathery and sort of like a dark wood accord that almost like transports you to an old world. And I'm not saying that this smells vintage, it's just why I think this perfume is very appropriately named. It's named Babylon, and I think gives you that idea of being transported in the middle of spice trade in the old world. But this to me just smells very sensual and very sexy. If you love spicy vanilla perfumes, you got to have this one in your collection. Next one, we're going to the house of Chanel, and this is Allure Homme Edition Blanche. This perfume has keynotes of lemon, bergamot, vanilla, tonka bean, and amber. I love this perfume so much. This has got to be one of the classiest perfumes that I have ever put my nose on. This to me smells very daytime, very joyful, very vibrant without being juvenile. With all that vibrant personality that this has, it remains very, very classy. It remains very Chanel. This is a really good everyday perfume, a really good summer perfumes. One of my summer perfumes for life, definitely. And I think this is a really good choice if you want something that smells very fun, very upbeat, but at the same time just really, really classy. Okay, we are going to the house of Juliette Halligan, and this is Vanilla Vibes. Salt, vanilla, musk, and coconut are some of the keynotes to this perfume. One of the most transportive and very evocative perfumes in my collection, definitely. This is, to me, is Summer Vacation in a bottle. To me, the salt note is just a really genius touch to this perfume. I think in a lot of perfumes, there's really that one note that really kind of like gives the perfume a different kind of character. And to me, it's the choice of adding the salt note in this perfume. It gives you that aquatic, beachy feel without using the note of cologne, without smelling fishy, without, you know, being headache inducing. It still remains very transparent, just like Wood Sage and Sea Salt by Jo Malone. Imagine that salt note, but here it's more amped up. But it doesn't smell salty, it doesn't smell like a body odor, it doesn't smell like sweat. Whenever I smell this perfume, it just gives me that feeling of like rising out from the ocean into the beach with the salt water drying on my skin, and you went to sit down and have a drink of a cold coconut water. Because it also has coconut in the background, and it's not done in kind of like a sunscreen or suntan lotion kind of way. Here to me, this smells like coconut water than coconut milk. It's definitely very vanilla forward, but done in a very tropical vacation kind of way. Next one, we're going to the house of Guerlain, and this is Angelique Noir. This perfume has keynotes of vanilla, angelica, Pear and Pink Pepper. This one as well is a very unique vanilla perfume. Very sensual, very sexy, very bold. This, I think, is one of those perfumes that I can't recommend you blind buying because it does have this very green Angelica note at the top that, to me, when the first time that I have smelled this, it was really off-putting. Perhaps maybe because it was the first time that I have smelled this kind of DNA. A very fresh green, but at the same time very deep vanilla perfume. But I think the Angelica note is the magic note in this perfume. It adds a layer of freshness to this perfume. It kind of pulls the vanilla away from being your typical vanilla perfume and pulls the vanilla away from being another gourmand vanilla perfume. If you are going to try this perfume, if you don't think you like it, wear it again. If you don't think you still don't like it, give it a full wearing, because by then I'm pretty sure you're going to love this perfume just like I did. Now we are at number 6. We are going back to the House of Penhaligons. Now this is going to be the second out of the 2 perfumes from Penhaligons in this list. This is coming from the Portraits collection, and this is The World According to Arthur. Now this perfume has keynotes of vanilla, incense, grapefruit, and musk. Now this is an incense and vanilla perfume. During the first 2 to 3 minutes, the incense is very prominent. This, I'm going to tell you, is probably the most wearable incense perfume that I have ever put my nose on. Once it settles down and blends with the vanilla, it allows the vanilla to kind of bloom and just, you know, adds this level of mysteriousness to the vanilla in this one. If you're from the Northern Hemisphere, this, I'm going to tell you, is a really beautiful, very sexy, very mysterious, very sensual winter perfume. But at the same time, if you live anywhere else outside the Northern Hemisphere or in tropical countries just like myself, this would be a really good everyday perfume, because even though it's vanilla forward, it's not heavy, it doesn't feel sickly sweet or sticky during daytime or during sunny days, and the incense is not heavy at all as well. It just, like I said, creates this sort of like mystery to the vanilla. This is really beautiful. If you love incense perfumes, you gotta have to check this one out. And if you love those kind of like, in some sort of way, mysterious sexy vanilla perfumes, check this one out. That's The World According to Arthur from the House of Penhaligons from the Portraits collection. Finally, we are at the top 5. For the next perfume, we are going to the House of Estee Lauder from their Luxury Fragrances collection. This is Infinite Sky. This perfume has keynotes of vanilla, leather, black pepper, and woods. Now, I have quite a story about this perfume, because the first time that I have smelled this was in Sydney when I went there last June this year. Before coming to Sydney, as a perfume enthusiast, I've already read so much about the luxury perfumes collection from Estee Lauder. Based on what I've read and what a lot of people have said about the entire collection, what stood out to me was this one, Infinite Sky, Sensuous Stars, and then Tender Light. What I know from based on what I've read about this perfume is that this is supposed to be a vanilla bomb of a perfume, right? Now, we were in the city one time. We were on our way to meet some friends for dinner, but we had some time before then. So we walked around, and then I saw this window display for Kiehl's at this store. If I'm not mistaken, that was the Lauder duty-free store in the middle of Sydney CBD. I've always wanted to smell and try Kiehl's Original Musk, and I've always wanted to add that into my collection because I love musk perfumes. Actually, when you go in there, before you could reach the counter for Kiehl's was actually the counter for Estee Lauder. And to my surprise, I saw the entire line of the luxury fragrance collection from Estee Lauder, and so I had a chance to try them. I sprayed this in the back of my hand. I was entirely surprised of what I smelled, because what this smelled like, very dark, very spicy, sort of like, you know, a woody, slightly leathery vanilla perfume with a touch of like a very faint, sort of like a burnt caramel note in the background. I was honestly expecting that this perfume is going to be as vanilla forward of like Angelique Noir by Guerlain. It's actually not. I was very perplexed and confused and like mind blown at the same time. But every time you smell this perfume, you still know that this is a vanilla perfume. Imagine taking a picture of the sunset with the trees and the mountains in the foreground. Imagine the trees and the mountains as the woods, as the leathery accords, as the spices. Imagine the vanilla being the sun, very far away from the background, but it's the one that's creating this light height and dimension to these things that you see in the front, in the foreground. This is what this perfume is to me. It's very dark, it's very sexy, but still you know that this is a vanilla perfume, and I would say this is a really unique take on a vanilla perfume, a really unique use of vanilla in perfumes. But on our drive home, I kept coming back to the back of my hand where I sprayed this because the uniqueness, the mysteriousness, and the entire complexity of this perfume was very captivating, was very addicting that, well, after a few months, I got my own bottle of this one. Now, what is a vanilla perfumes list without this perfume from the house of Tom Ford? And this is Tobacco Vanille. This perfume has keynotes of tobacco, vanilla, spices, cacao, and dried fruits. Something about this perfume just smells very festive, very celebratory, very upbeat, but at the same time, very sensual, very sexy, very well put together. I think those contrasting characteristics is what made me fall in love with this perfume. There is a reason why this perfume is one of the most well-loved perfumes in the perfume community, because this perfume just ticks all the boxes. It's sweet, it's fun, but at the same time, it's very mysterious and very sexy. Check this one out if you haven't yet, especially now that the holidays are coming. This would be a really good perfume to wear. At number 3, we're going to the house of Matiere, and this is Encens Suave. Incense, vanilla, benzoin, and coffee are some of the keynotes to this perfume. The incense is equally dominant as much as the vanilla in here. This one to me, especially with the addition of the vanilla, just makes it very, very addictive. I am a notorious oversprayer of my perfumes. I don't go out of the house with just, 8 sprays on my body, but this one is one of the very few perfumes in my collection that I am very much contented to go out of the house with just 2 to 3 sprays, because this is a very potent perfume. It's an eau de parfum perfume, but it's very loud, it's very potent, so that speaks a lot for the quality of the perfumes from Matiere. If you think you don't like incense perfumes, try this one out. Spray this sparingly because those 2 to 3 sprays were enough for me to fall in love with this perfume. It's really beautiful, it's very mysterious. The entire combination of the sweet, creamy vanilla with the incense, just, I don't know, there's just something about that combination that just makes this perfume really, really addicting. At number 2 spot, you're probably familiar about this perfume if you have been watching my videos. This is coming from the house of Celine, and this is Black Tie. Vanilla, iris, oak moss, amber, and musk are some of the keynotes to this perfume. Always and always, whenever I talk about this perfume, to me this smells like a warm vanilla ice cream with powdery dustings coming from the iris at the top. Amber is not officially listed in the notes breakdown, but I'm getting that a lot from this perfume. It's very sensual, it smells like ice cream, but it's so weird because it doesn't smell like a gourmand perfume at all. And to me, even though this is named as Black Tie, this is a really good everyday perfume as well. Also a really unique take on vanilla. It has a beautiful oak moss that sort of like adds this transparent woody component at the back. A very, very interesting note to combine with the vanilla. This is one of those perfumes really that I can never have without in my collection. Check this one out from the house of Celine, and this is Black Tie. Sitting high at the number 1 spot, we have a perfume from the house of Nishane, and this is Annie. This perfume has keynotes of vanilla, green notes, bergamot, ginger, and pink pepper. The first time that I have worn this perfume, from all the things that I have heard about this one, I've sprayed 2 to 3 sprays of this perfume only, and that was enough for me to understand why people love this perfume, why people hate this perfume, but most importantly, it was enough for me to fall in love with this perfume. Now, with the 2 to 3 sprays that I had the first time that I wore it, it was enough for me to know that this has a potential to choke someone out, to overwhelm someone, because it's very sweet. It almost has this sweet lactonic quality in the background, like you have warm sugared milk in the background. That can be, I think, overwhelming and off-putting for some people. Interestingly, this is contrasted at the top by this very aromatic green, sort of like herbaceous quality at the top of this perfume. The ginger in this perfume sort of like adds this transparent, zingy, sort of like a mentholated quality to this perfume. Overall, definitely this is a vanilla bomb with so much going on around it. So I understand why this perfume can overwhelm someone. But this perfume is definitely a work of art, a work of something divine, honestly, because this is so much going on around it, but at the same time, a very beautiful dance of notes that is working perfectly well with each other. A definite must-have if you love perfumes, a definite must-have if you're collecting vanilla perfumes. Alright, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for being patient and sticking with me. But thank you so much for stopping by today. Please don't forget to leave a like on this video. It will definitely go a long way. It's not gonna cost you anything, but it's definitely going to help me with YouTube's algorithm. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing. But don't stop there, hit the notification bell if you want to be notified if I do upload more content in the future. But as always, I do hope that wherever you are, I hope everyone are staying safe, stay curious, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!